Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on into another LEGO Marvel custom set review on my channel. Today, in light of Ironheart finishing off Phase 5 of Marvel, I of course had to make a display set based off the show. The set's design will follow how I have made past display sets, with of course the black border around it, as well as the build capturing one of the scenes from most likely the finale of the show. Now, I thought the show was actually really good. The CGI was amazing and I loved the characters introduced. Now, at the beginning, I didn't really care for the character, and she still is to me kind of like a side character. Nonetheless though, it was a very interesting show. So of course, starting off with the figures, I of course had to include the main character. This of course is Ironheart. This is her Mark V suit, coming in that red and black color, and I think she turned out perfect. She of course features her brand new torso and hip printing. The legs actually I found on mech bricks, and I think they work perfectly. She comes with a build for her back thrusters there, which are similar to the ones she came in Wakanda Forever. As well, she comes with a brand new helmet print there. I would have used the comic book Iron Man helmet, however, I cannot print on that one, so I used the same one that I used for my Thunderbolts sets. Underneath is just a transparent head, but you can switch it out for the Riri Williams head, which comes in the set, of course, as you will see later. Up next in the series, I of course had to include our main villain, and this of course is Parker Robbins, the Hood, and he turned out fantastic. I didn't give him any new printing other than his face, which if you do notice it, it is the same one I gave in my Marvel Phase 5 Part 3 CMAP series. Of course, he does come with the iconic hood piece there in dark red, as well as the cape piece in dark red. He also comes with two goon guns in some light gray, as well as just a simple suit for him. And now, while I could have included figures part of Parker's crew, I decided to go for a little bit more of an interesting figure here. And of course, here he is. This is Mephisto. Now, of course, this isn't his red devilish look. This is his human form here, coming with the Kylo Ren hairpiece in black, a brand new face print there with his bushy beard there, as well as just some simple torso and legs there. Of course, his torso just has a little bit of a collared shirt, which is a nod to the kind of scruffy kind of business look he has in the show. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I of course also had to include Riri Williams in a more casual outfit, of course, rather than her suit. For her, I gave her just a normal ponytail hairpiece there in black, as well as the face print that she comes with in the Wakanda Forever sets, as I think it actually works really perfect. I also gave her a vest there in dark green with some tan arm sleeves right there, as well as a nice pair of jeans. And of course, here are all the figures all lined up. I actually included a hairpiece for Parker Robbins, which is kind of the old grandma swept hairpiece there in black, which actually works really good for him. Moving on to the set, here you guys have it. I of course had to create the iconic Desperitos Pizza Diner from the show. This is the main headquarters of Parker Robbins' crew of criminals here, and I think I captured it perfectly. There of course are some custom prints all around it showing the advertisement for the pizza shop, as well as there's a quote on the front of the build. It says, "I want to build something undeniable, something iconic." This of course is a major thing that Riri Williams says from not only the trailers but the show. Of course, the build can also split off into 3 sections. The roof comes off as well, I just did not show it there, and the build splits off in 2 as well. Spinning it around so you can see the interior of the build, it is quite similar to my Daredevil Born Again building, as it is kind of on that street corner. However, this one is on more of an angle. Of course, the main floor has the door on the angle there, and on the main floor, it does have a little booth there, of course, with a minifigure, actually base plate from those minifigure series, having a little pizza on there. Of course, you can fit a minifigure in each spot if you do want to recreate either Parker Robbins meeting Mephisto or Riri. I also made this little build for a little trash can there, which just sits on the side. Also, the floor is tiled off nicely with a nice pattern I created. There are little studs available so you can place minifigures about as well. Of course, here you can get a better look. Of course, I do have Riri and Mephisto sitting down eating pizza. This of course is after the battle that Riri has with Parker in the upstairs of the building. Of course, you can see the studs on the ground there. A better look at the pattern as well as that little trash can I have off to the side. And now moving on to the upstairs, here you have it. It is kind of condensed, and I didn't really know exactly what to put in there. However, as you can see, there is Parker Robbins with his hair there. It looks really, really good, especially with the suit there. And off to the side, I made this little elevated display stand for, of course, the place where he stores his cloak, which just turned out perfectly. Of course, this is a use of a bunch of rounded elements there, with one of the pegs that you can put a minifigure head over, and where you can store the cape as well as the hood on top of it. Behind Parker also is a little table for just some extra seating areas. Of course, to fit with my other style of sets here, I of course added the interchangeable Technic pins on the side, so you can actually display these on a shelf all connected next to each other, which I just think is such a cool feature, and I actually want to render a whole street of these out. I think that would be really, really cool. Of course, you do get another pair for the other side, of course, if you do want to display this one in the middle instead of at the end. And of course, here they are. And of course, here you guys have it, the final render for the set. I didn't really know how to include the other figures on the outside of the build, so really I just have Ironheart recreating that scene where she does just fly down these streets of Chicago. She is held there by that new Technic pin in that translucent white there. Of course, there are multiple spots throughout the build there, as seen on the wall, the different Technic pin spots where you can actually place her. Of course, also below on the sidewalk, there is a little trim around it in a darker gray. Of course, the iconic lamppost with these modular sets, as well as a little fire hydrant there in white. And this build actually was a challenge with building on that angle there. Of course, the piece right there for the door is a pre-existing piece. However, the angle for the window and the tiles on the front was a real issue for me to try and build on, but I found a simple way to do it with just some tiles as well as some rotating pieces, and I think it turned out great. I also decided to go with silver for the trimming just because of the mechanical aspect of the show, and because I had chosen red for the WandaVision set already and the Daredevil set. But of course, the set would not be complete without the finalized box art, so here you guys have it. This is set 76932 Ironheart Desperitos Disaster. Of course, the set comes with 715 pieces, the 4 minifigures, and of course is 18 plus and branded under the Disney Plus series. And this set just turned out really, really good. However, I can't wait to do stuff for Marvel Phase 6, as it already has started off so good with Fantastic Four. So if you guys did go on to enjoy the video, please make sure to subscribe and like the videos. It shows me what you guys like to see, as well as it pushes them out to more people who may also enjoy this type of content. Anyways guys, stay tuned. There are some amazing builds coming up next. Anyways guys, thanks.